sets into my big toe.
Woke me up.
Welcome, Chris Lord-Alge. My name is MPA. If you've just tuned in, my name is MPA. I work here at Waves. You may have seen me hosting other shindigs, but it's been a while. I've missed you. I hope you've missed us too. And let's get into this. Welcome, my good friend Chris Lord-Alge. How are you, sir?
Greetings from Tarzana. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Mixing with Depth. Welcome, Michael. Thanks for having me aboard here. We are in the race for the holidays here, one day past Cyber Monday, and my Cyber Monday brought you a new surprise, CLA Epic.
Let's take a look.
On Black Friday, I gave you a free plugin, okay, called CLA Ecosphere. Okay, so for all of you who've already gotten that, well, that's the precursor to what you're going to see now, if you've not already gotten it. CLA Epic, okay? So what is CLA Epic, everyone asks, right, Michael? What is it?
Absolutely. It's like you are, so now we've got you on the camera, you're on the bottom right, we got the plugin in the middle, and I'm a little bubble up the top hand side.
So what is CLA Epic? Okay, everyone knows that the old guy in the bus, me, works on an analog console most of the time. So what I find what makes my mixes have depth is my effects section over here, where I have 4 delays, 4 reverbs, they're all stereo, right? And I'm able to commingle them, use them all at once, balance them all differently for sections of the song. So I made a plugin that would be very hard to create with sends and returns called CLA Epic. You can just drop this plugin on a lead vocal. You can pick 4 delays and 4 reverbs, okay, at once, or combine different ways they speak with each other. The way I usually do it is I may pick a reverb for a vocal and use 4 delays for the vocal, and then have those delays spilling into the other 3 reverbs or other 2 reverbs. So it's really designed to give you all the effects you ever need, and you can use it right in the insert, right on top of a vocal after your favorite EQ and compressor, and get your sound, okay? And then you can use Epic across the whole session if you want, so everyone gets their own flavor. And you may only use one little taste of it, but I give you something that's very detailed and very exciting to use.
So let's talk for a second about what inspired you to make this plugin. What inspired you to go, oh my God, okay, Waves, we need to make this. What triggered this?
Well, what inspired me to make the plugin was simple. I said, is it possible to just jam my whole effects return into one area, okay, and make how I would normally use it actually function as a plugin? Look, I make a signature plugin, so it's instant vocal sound, right? I make, drum plugin. I make the mix hub and the mix down, which are just drop and play. So here's your mix bus, boom, that's all you need. Here's your channel, here's your EQ compressor. Well, I wanted to try to solve the delay reverb problem. Right. And since, for example, on drums, I'll use 4 reverbs. Okay, on vocals, I may use 1 reverb, but my delays are feeding other reverbs, right? Because in my situation, it commingles. Here, you're able to have it on anything you want. So I didn't think it was possible. But, the magic people, the wizards of waves, I call them, helped me wow this wonder into your hot little hands. So, I'm always thinking of going beyond the limits of the plug-in universe and coming up with something like a multi-track or something, like Mix Hub. But now you have it all in one.
Okay, Chris, so take us through the plugin from left to right. And then we'll talk about how you do use this on some vocals and drums, and we'll go through some stuff.
Okay. So if you're all looking at what I'm looking at, my plugin is broken out into, we can call it 8 modules, 8 sections. It's basically 2 sections, though. It's the delay section, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the reverb section, A, B, C, D. Okay? So I just emulated what I already have on my console. So let's go through module 1, okay? Module 1 is twin delays. Now, it's a stereo delay only when you offset it. If you click on this delay and hit sync, which you can sync it to anything, right, it'll stay mono. But what I do, because this is what I do here, I turn the offset up and I'm able to make the delays wider by putting milliseconds added or taken away from either side. So we have one of those here we call tape. Okay, we move over to the next module. We have pretty much the same thing, but a different EQ curve, I call it throw. And this delay is able to actually be externally triggered as a throw delay, okay? And then next to it, we have what I use every day is a slap plugin, okay? So the VSO will show you 7.5, 15, and 30 with the milliseconds that my measurements came up with for me, okay? And of course, you can sync this and have it be a regular delay, okay? Or you can just use it as a slap, right? And adjust the feedback, okay? Then the last one is an emulation of a device I use on every single mix, Ursa Major Space Station, which I have it set to give me like a crowd. But it's hard to even explain it, but for me, I can either have a tight crowd or a wide crowd. So it's like multiple short delays that you can widen and they're kind of dark, right? So you have these 4 flavors, okay? Boom. So let's move on to the next part of it. That's the delays. Excuse me. So on the A section of the reverbs, I've emulated my favorite plate reverb. On the B section, my favorite room for drums and instruments. On the C section, my favorite like long, dark hall that I use for long stuff, right? And on the D section, it's kind of the bonus reverb. Similar to like an AMS non-lin, but a little different than that. But dark, it will create that kind of shut-off sound. But all 4 of these reverbs have a different curve. They're not all just the same reverb with different, EQs. No, it's 4 different reverbs. That's what was the hard part. Well, the wizards helped me there. So that's the basics here, right? And you have volume controls for each, and you have high pass, low pass for each. Okay, as soon as you click on any a fader or something, it pops to that module. But here's the secret sauce of the CLA Epic, okay? Right above here, excuse my French, above the delay, you have routing, okay? So, for example, I want to have my main stereo 8th note delay. I want that to feed reverb B, okay? I want my throw delay to feed reverb C. Okay, maybe I want my crowd to feed reverb D, okay? When you send the delays to the reverb, then that's only where the reverb gets its input from. Follow what I'm saying? Yes. It doesn't mean they're commingling. So if you route anything, it eliminates that from the direct input. So right now, if I run this on a vocal, I will be able to use reverb A as the vocal reverb, and then B, C, and D will just be there to wetten the tails of my other delays, which to me is the secret, okay? By putting the delays in reverb at certain levels and certain tones, it makes them turn into landscape, okay? Rather than being blocky little squares of delay in the middle of your mix, now it's a forest of trees. Now it's got dimension. Now you can see deer and animals and bear, and raccoons. So Michael, that gives you a description, okay? Now, I've made some presets, but many question, well, Chris, insert or send? I say you start with it as an insert. Make it just be, here's my vocal, boom, pop it on. Here's my backgrounds, boom. Here's my subgroup for drum rooms, boom, it's on that. Start with it as an insert, okay? Once you get your head wrapped around what it does, then you can make your decision on, all right, I'm going to put this on send 1, put this on send 2. But it's really kind of, my favorite usage is just boom, okay, guitar solo, vocal, boom, it's over, done. Simple, great.
Okay, so this seems like a really cool plugin to me. Actually, it is. I've messed with it and I love it. So one of the questions that I have seen come up during, I'm going to give you another plug here, during some of the comments in your Mixing with Depth course and also about this is, what's the difference here between how you've created this to, just putting a few plugins on. Now, I know that this is better because you and I both know that, but it is a question that I think that's worth answering. It's like, what's the difference here between this and trying to struggle your way through different reverbs and delays?
I've taken all the hard part out for you. You can't just stack 4 reverbs on a vocal because they're going to feed each other in series. This isn't parallel, okay? Right. This is one input feeding out to eight 8 machines and returning in one stereo pair. So it's being split out so you have it's got 8 inputs to 8 devices, and then you can mix it back into stereo. So it's a mixer built into it also. So you can't do this. You couldn't stack plugins and do this. Period. Now you can create sends and returns, but why? Life is too short for that. Go Epic or go home, you know?
Well, the other side of it is as well is how many reverbs and delays can you really put on before you start to run out of CPU? This is, this is a much better way of doing it. Okay, so we're going to get into the nitty-gritty here. Let's talk about vocals. So let's give them some examples of what this does on vocals.
Okay, I have a song here by an artist I'm producing called Bald Man. It's called Big Toe. My friend Phil X singing backgrounds here. So I'm just showing you what it does on a background track. So I'll play this.
Table cold, fire simmering low. Blue sets into my big toe. In and out the waves revoke. Try this again, this time don't choke.
Take out a solo.
Only living games. How many demons can you contain? If you walk on the water, better learn to swim.
Now we'll go back again, back to solo. So look, you can build the palette any way you want. This is what's great. You don't have to use 4 delays and 4 reverbs every time. You can just say, hey, I just want the delay. You know what? I don't even want the reverb, okay? All I need is the delay and a delay tail. Hit mute, boom, right?
Table cold,
So there's the delay.
blue sets into my big toe.
Hear the tail of the delay, how cool it sounds with the reverb?
Try this again, this time don't choke.
You want to spread that delay wider?
Living games. How many demons can you contain? If you walk on the water, better learn to swim.
So right there is my go-to no matter what. When I mix, my delays are never dry, okay? They're never dry. They're always shining in the lake. They're always sparkling on the ocean. They're not just dry. Okay, so this is what creates it. So one more try here.
Cold, fire, simmering low.
Add more.
Sets into my big toe.
There's the reverb there.
In and out
More
the
delay.
waves revoke. Try this again, this time don't choke. Chance if I only living games. How many demons can you contain? If you walk on the water, better learn to swim.
Now you're saying, Chris, it's getting pretty swampy in here. Okay, let's back it off a little bit. Look, to me, it's the multiple layers of stuff you use and how much you blend it in. That's why the mix knob is your friend. So here, without any reverb, right?
Table cold, fire, simmering
Just go for the short stuff.
blue sets into my big toe. In and out the waves revoke. Try this again, this time don't
Because a lot of times
choke.
that's all you need.
Chance you thought only lived in games. How many demons can you contain? If you walk on the water, better learn to swim. Better learn to swim.
And when are you ever able to, while you're mixing, right, just listen to a part and be able to manipulate 4 reverbs and 4 delays and how they blend inside the record you're mixing? You're usually like, it sounds weird. I can't address it. Well, now it's so easy. The plugin's there. It's like, oh, I need some more long delay. Oh, I need more slap. This is going to be so great. It's so much easier. How many times are you hunting for, where's the return of this? Oh, where's the return of that? The real estate in Pro Tools is disastrous. It's like a giant parking lot. Your car is parked in V5. You'll never find it. Here, it's just boom, right in front of you.
That's
Table cold,
I like to say this.
simmering low.
That's cool. I can
Sets
do that.
into my big toe.
One more.
In and out the waves
Balance
revoke.
it.
Try this again, this time don't choke. Chance you thought only lived in games. How many demons can you contain? If you walk on
So, to me, it's like, that's how I want to do it. I want to hear it in the song, adjust how much I want of each. I always go to the max and pull it back. I'm an overshooter. Like when I EQ, I go, okay, plus 60 and then back to plus 30. Always. So that's how I can get it to work. And then as you get more comfortable with it, you have your presets and it just drop and go. Come on. So on vocals, very cool.
So, vocals, very cool. Now, one of the questions that I think I want to know is, I noticed this is not on an effects return. This is on actually the track, right? That's where you want people to put it, on the track?
Yeah. I mean, look, imagine this. Just think about it. Think about the real estate. Do I want to make my parking lot bigger just because I want to hear effects? If I have my session to whatever, 96, 64, 32, whatever, I just put it on the track. And then all I have to do is deal with a mix knob. I don't have to worry about, another fader, another blend. Oh, is it feeding my bus? Oh, geez, where'd it go, right? So this just simplifies it, okay? But look, for the people that are send-return kind of people, there you go. You can have it. But to me, it's be able to actually paint a picture with each instrument, right? We have that technology. Look, I came from a world, this is why I think the plugin's great. I came from a world so long and far ago, before Star Wars, before electricity, before Edison. I mean, Jesus, Edison was one of my students, right? Way before that. So all I had was one reverb, one, plate, one delay. So what did I do? Each channel got a different balance of that. So now you're able to do that where you have all the separates, okay? The reason I have to do it this way is I only have one set of effects, and it's just how I send to them is what makes the magic. Well, guess what? You can have that magic on every fader individual. Home run.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Okay, so we've talked about this on vocals, right? So what else have you got for us? Come on, you've got more for us than that in this session.
Yeah.
It's like
So
the drums sound good.
Let's just look at, okay, when I put reverb on drums, okay, I usually put them on the rooms. I might put it on a direct, but it's really on the room tracks. So if you're going to put reverb on your drum room, you're going to okay, I'll pick one reverb. Well, why not have four? So let's just go to the drum room. Or Tom's. Let's see, where's my drum room here? Got it. So I will put my plug-in on my room here. And size it up quickly here for you. And there's the Epic, okay? I will load in CLA's presets for drums, the room, number one, the old number one. Okay, and then I will solo the drum room. Right, then I will bypass it. Wow. Oh, it's alive. Okay. And look, I'm using 4 different reverbs. So reverb 1, the plate's at 1 second. Okay, the room's at 1 second. The hall is at 1 second. They're all kind of at 1 second, but each one of them sounds different, right? So if you want me to show you, look. I'll make it wetter, look. I'll go down the line here. Reverb 1. Reverb 2. Reverb 4. Reverb 3. But you put them all together, it's like you're adding this whole frequency bank. So there's your mix. You unsolo it. Off for you. Let's just mute it. Now I have on the snare too, so let's just solo that. So what do I have on the snare? Load, CLA, drums, snare top. Right? I made these with this in mind. So, or you can go, all right, that snare top's pretty nice.
Hey Chris, move the plug-in left, will you? More. Thanks, buddy.
So we'll look at basically my go-to snare top, right? Right? And then mute it. Now I have 2 room tracks. I have 2 room tracks, so let's just go to the second room track.
Yeah, don't talk too much over the drums because the drums are really loud and really awesome in this track and I can't hear you.
Got it. So let's add it. Let's add the Epic to the other room. Okay. I love the sparkly page that opens up. It's so cool. It's like Christmas. The room number 2. Okay. Inside the mix, that's what works for me, okay? I go and just mute these, boom, boom, boom.
Bring up the plug
God,
in again.
Oh my God, I'm gonna fall asleep.
There we go.
Right? Boom, I'm gonna fall asleep. Now, pop them back in. Da, 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 da. Now, I gave you, this is my go-to setting. Super easy. Do you want to have sends and returns all going all over the place and get all confused about it? Boom, off you go. Now, because then you EQ your drums into that, it's great, right? So, now you can add delays if you want it. Look, check it out, right? I mean, think about it. You can add delays to it. You can feather that stuff in. But my big problem with plugins, and this is why I created this, is that one reverb is not enough. It's like one hamburger is not enough. I want 4. I want to have all the flavors. So
4 hamburgers? Okay, so while we're talking about that, now let's talk about where you had that on your drums. You had that specifically on 1 or 2 tracks. So I'm a new user. I've just bought this plugin. I want Chris to tell me where to put this on my drums to really kick ass. Did I notice a drum room there? You put it on the drum room?
Yeah. So here's recommendations from CLA for people that want to know, okay? With the drums, okay? The first place I put reverb on is just the room tracks. If you have a mono room, this becomes a mono to stereo thing. So that helps you right there. Here's what I don't put it on. I don't put it on a kick, the dry kick. I don't put it on the hi-hats or the overheads. That stuff doesn't need it, okay? I will put it on the dry snare, and that's why I have a snare top setting, because I've thinned it out so you don't get all that low end from the proximity of the snare mic. So if I was going to put reverb on drums, okay, snare top, toms, and room. Who would get the most? The room tracks. Seasoned to taste, right? That's what I would do. Okay, and I would do this in lieu of using compression. People are like, oh, well, if I use compression on the rooms, they get bigger. No, they don't, they get smaller. Because guess what gets bigger? The cymbals. All you want the room to do is to expand the space, explore the space, right? Hey, explore the space, right? So it expands it. So that's what you want. So you play this. You might say, hey, Chris, it's a little wet for me. But okay, look, I'm just showing you that I like it a little more three-dimensional. I'll just put the guitars back in.
Bring the plug-in back in.
And that's on the toms. Go here, put it back up from that. To me, the perspective of the mix is all that matters. How is it sound in the mix? So my whole thing with this is you're able to get a drum sound that the reverb just sounds like it's this tall. You know what I'm saying? It's huge. And you're not just depending on one reverb to get the sound you want.
Right. Okay. Cool. So I have some questions here. There's quite a few questions.
How about a guitar solo? How about a quick guitar solo?
Yeah, go on. Give us the guitar solo.
So just a quick guitar solo bit here. Where is he? There we go.
What does it sound like without it?
Well, let's get it rocking. Let's get this rocking like docking, okay? Actually, let's just look at this. What has he got? What has he got? Sync it up. Sync it up.
Oh.
Phil X is just awesome. But okay, in it, you're like, wow, sounds good by itself, Chris. How does it sound like in the record? You know? This is the sexy stuff I do on mixes. I want three-dimensional. The 90s of dry rock and roll are gone forever. So we're back into three-dimensional sound. So, excuse me. So look, it's kind of endless, but see how it works as an insert. So anyway, guitar solo, drums, vocals. Come on.
Okay,
Delicious.
questions. You ready?
Yes.
All right. So,
questions.
So I have a question here from Alistair from Ontario. Hello, Alistair. In your Mixing with Depth series, you pushed the benefits of sending many tracks into the same delays and reverbs to share the landscape. Seems that with CLA Epic, we'd be challenged to practically send many tracks into the same plugin because we can't choose the effects for each incoming track, but really we'll do it to identical epics to share the landscape. Is that right?
That's one way of looking at it. I mean, look, everyone's hearing you talk too now, right?
Yes.
So, look, this is the great thing about a plugin like this. Okay, you got to remember, I just said to you earlier, I was in a world where I only have this many pieces of gear. Everyone's got to share. Well, guess what? You could say you have a great sound, but you don't want to use it on a send. You can put it on 20 channels. Who cares? So I really want you to use it as an insert first, and then, use it as something you may share, share later. Maybe you only want to use sends because the drums can always have the same sound. Look, that's up to you, but the great thing about the insert just makes a quicker workflow. Thanks for the question.
We got another one here from John. John,
right?
It's a similar question.
Coffee.
Brian, I'll have white with 2, please. John says, in your recent videos, it sounded like you were describing sending all the instruments to the same 4 channels of delay and reverb. Is that true? Because with this plugin, would you be separating the individual instrument groups and sending them each their own instance of the plugin? So that's a very similar question, but it comes from a different area. So let's attack that so everybody knows what this is all about.
I mean, look, the thing is that we've moved into the future, and now there's no compromising. I come from a world where I have to compromise by, I'll send the same guitars, the same stuff, or like a whole bunch of things, so all the same delays and reverbs, right? To me, that's not as ideal as having this now, because then I can actually control the things that I really want to have certain aspects without it getting complicated.
Right.
All right? And that's what I think about it. When you watch my video, you see how I do it old school, right? Which is fine, because I have no option. Here, I could set this up as a send. I could set it up as 4 sends. That's up to you. See, some of us who mix or work in Pro Tools or Ardour or whatever are into that headspace where, okay, my effects are all on sends and I have returns. If you're used to that, then this is perfect also, because then you can create custom returns with these delays and reverbs. So it works both ways. It's all depending on what you're used to, right? I just find that these 8 faders lets you manipulate the sound completely.
Okay, cool. So we've got a question here from, if I say this wrong, I apologize and I owe you something. DF Tweedle. Please discuss setting up Epic to move things forward and backward in the mix. That's a good question.
Well, that's super easy.
Show me. Show us.
Okay, move it. Okay, so we will go back.
So move the plugin left and up, please, because it's behind your face.
Yeah. So left and up. I'm just trying to navigate up to the backgrounds here. So, let's show you that with the backgrounds really quickly. I just have to move this out of the way so I get my marker. Okay, and then, for example, we can turn this on. And, it's really about the mix knob. So here's an example. I'm going to go forward to back, okay?
Okay.
We'll start that same spot.
Simmering low, blue sets into my big toe. In and out the waves revolve. Try this again, this time don't choke. Chance you thought only lived in games. How many demons can you contain? If you walk on the water, better learn to swim. Better learn to swim.
So to really answer your question about this, it's really about the mix knob. You set up the palette of all the effects that you want on something, and you're literally using the mix control to set it forward and back, okay? Now, if you turn more reverb up, it's going to feel like it's back further. But that's really the element. Look, it's going from dry to wet. I mean, that's front to back. But the kind of wet you're getting is a three-dimensional palette of wet. It's not just one reverb.
Okay,
So
cool.
that's,
Let's hope you. I think that answered the question really well. You know, you're really quite good at this. You should consider mixing for a living. Yeah, it's like I see you have a future, Chris. Brandon, hello, Brandon. Brandon has a question. I noticed the Green Day vocal presets in Epic, and I do want to talk about presets, by the way. It's like he noticed the Green Day vocal presets in Epic and tried them out last night. How do you make space with them, who are known for a dry sound, while still somehow making the final mix feel dry and upfront? What do you typically put on the vocals, guitars, and drums with those kind of mixes?
Well, look, each artist has each song, each artist has a certain level of how wet you're going to make it. Green Day, Rise Against, and Billy Talent, you're infusing X amount of percentage. I'm trying to sneak as much in as possible. So I keep my mixing of those effects pretty subtle, okay? So if I look at my Boulevard preset here, it's pretty subtle, okay? It's pretty subtle, okay? It's just some delay. So my point is that it's all seasoned to taste. When you have this kind of palette to use, it's so easy to go from dry to wet, from three-dimensional to up front. So to answer your question, on the Green Days, on the Rise Against, on the Billy Talent, on the things I think are just in your face, hardcore rock stuff where I don't want too many effects. Look, I try to just slip a little slap, a little reverb, a little crowd, a little seasoning, just so it's not so apparently dry.
Right. Okay. So, with presets, we're talking presets, right? Now, one of the cool things I love about this plugin is how much work you've put into these presets. Give us the starting point. Somebody who has just gone, oh my god, a new CLA plugin, this sounds awesome, I'm grabbing this, and then you do it. Where do they start? Where do you want these people to start so they get the best result out of it?
Super easy. Just go to my presets, go to CLA, say, okay, am I dealing with drums? And look at it as top of the list is the best to start with. So am I putting on the snare? Boom, there we go. The rooms, there we go, right? Guitars, it's always guitar solos you're looking for something fancy on, right? Because you're not necessarily making everything wet. So if it's just solos, you have solo 1, 2, and 3. Acoustic guitar room, because usually that's the guitar I'm putting reverb on, but that's good for any guitar, okay? And there's these funny ones called the March, which are dancing delays. So I definitely had some fun for the guitar stuff. And then if you look at keys, I just want to add some three-dimensional to all these boring keyboard sounds, right? So you have a club gig, you have Piano Man. These are all super easy, but these are all insert. Every one of my presets is made for an insert, okay? You'll see the blend there. And if you look at vocals, there's a whole bunch there. Slap Man. It's, look, I can show you that quickly on this vocal. Have him solo. We'll just solo him right here. And we will load, for example, the Slap Man.
Cold fire simmering low, blue sets into my big toe. In and out the waves provoke. Try this again, this time don't choke.
Big landscape.
Cold fire simmering low, blue sets into my...
It just keeps going. So just talking about the presets, I gave you the ones that I would use. I didn't overwhelm you with too many. I gave you with all usable ones that go from subtle to big landscape. So that's how you should start. And you should, if you're going to start with full reset. Full reset. Just start there. It's boring. It's just one reverb, one delay. Super simple. But start with it as an insert. Just chuck it on yourself as an insert. That's the way you're going to find how it works in the mix. This way you're not complicating matters with another send, another return. I'm trying to get you off the send return thing,
So we got another couple of questions. Where people are leaning a bit towards EQ questions here. We've got a question here. Chris says, is there any chance that you can address EQing the reverbs using the plugin? What would you recommend?
Well, if you're going to EQ the whole thing, right? If you're going to EQ it, then if you're going to need to make it 100% wet. So, for example, to quickly do that, we would take our backgrounds, right? Duplicate it, right? None of you do this, okay? You take the plugin off the top one, you know what I'm saying? Get rid of it there. Go to the bottom one, right? Where it says Epic, okay? Make it 100% wet there, okay? And then close that, and then I have an EQ here. So what I could do, just to make it simple, I could just add one more EQ after the fact, okay? And I'll just show you quickly. I'll solo those two things together, right? I'll bring down the reverb one, okay?
Cold fire simmering low, blue sets into my big toe, in and out the waves provoke. Try this again, this time don't choke. Chance is the only living game.
See right away, if you duplicate the track and then put the effect 100% on there, and then after whatever processing you're doing to the feeder is that sound anyway. You don't want to take that stuff off, right? Then you EQ going into the reverb, okay? EQ going in, because that mushes it together a little bit better. So it's super easy to do that.
Okay, we got a question here from Barney. Hi, Barney. Very good friend named Barney. I bet you're not that one. But I still like you. Okay, can Chris talk about the routing a bit more? I do roam, don't I? Can Chris talk about the routing a bit more, especially the out button? H button. Is the dry sound still available to mix in with everything else? That's his question.
Okay, let's play that background track, and let's show you what it does here, okay?
Cold fire simmering low, blue sets into my...
Sorry. Let's just copy this back up.
Cold fire simmering low, blue sets into my big toe, in and out the waves provoke.
So, how the routing works is very simple, okay? If you route a delay to a reverb, that reverb is only getting its source from the delay at that point, okay? The out button, what that will do is take the delay out of the stereo mix so you only hear the reverb return of it. For example,
cold fire simmering low, cold fire simmering low, blue sets into my big toe.
So make sure we're not hearing two things at once here. And sorry, kids. Just open this up. There we go.
Cold fire simmering low, blue sets in.
hearing it from somewhere.
Cold fire simmering low. Blue sets into my big toe. Big toe. In and out the way.
To reload this on here for you. But the simple fact of it is, I'll just dump it out of here for a second. And put our Epic on here. There it is.
Cold fire
There's your full wet.
sets into my big toe. Big toe. In and out the way. Revoke. Try this again. This time don't choke. Chance you thought only lived in games. How many demons can you contain if you walk on?
So what I was just going to, because what I was showing you is that it's very simple how the routing works. You have A, B, C, D. Okay, you can have it go to all 4 reverbs if you want. Okay, once you select A, B, C, or D, they do not receive the other signal. Okay, and once you turn the out off, the dry signal's gone too. But then you're able to use this control next to it to control the level of the dry here. So.
Cold fire simmering low. Blue sets into my big toe. Big toe. In and out the waves revoke.
Which means by having that volume next to it, if you feel it's too loud in the blend, you're able to adjust it. And if you go up to the routing here, you can change it, the setting there too. So these are the feeders to the reverb, okay? So the delays only go into the reverb.
Cold fire simmering low. Blue sets into my big toe. Big toe.
You can change the blend of it. You follow what I'm saying? So say, the reason why I added that was so you'd give you the ability, if you want to go under the hood, which that switch does, is to just control the level from that fader to the reverbs rather than using the return levels, okay? So I think that's pretty simple. So say you're having 4 delays, hit 4 reverbs, okay? Like this, which is a pretty complicated setup, right? So say you have this, right? 4 delays into 4 reverbs. You can adjust the balance of those delays to the reverbs. So you can create pretty interesting stuff. It's all up to this. It's all up to what you hear in your ears, what kind of dimension you want to get. But the routing is simple. Once you select A, B, C, or D off the delays, those reverbs are only going to get signal from the delay, not from the source signal. So
There you go.
it's a
Okay.
fun ride for you kids.
So I think this is freaking awesome. So I hope you guys have all got an idea there from Chris, not only why he created this plugin with us, and we're super happy he did, but what you can do with it. This is a powerhouse, and make sure that you watch the Mixing with Depth series as well, because Chris, that's really relevant to how you use a lot of this stuff, right, in your mixes.
Well, absolutely. Well, look at it this way. How many of you are fishing through your plugin list going, oh, okay, I need a short delay for this. I need a long delay for that. I need a reverb for this. And you're like, oh, God. You could put Epic across every instrument that you want delay or reverb on and just use one part of it, one bank. Maybe you just want a little slap on a guitar. Boom. Maybe you just want a little crowd on a keyboard. Maybe you just want one reverb, one lonely hall on something. Then you know that you have one reverb, just like it's always the same GUI, it's always the same setup. Oh, there's that sound, boom. I'm making it to be convenient, okay? I want to go into my toolbox and pull out the top 3 things I need and mix the whole song with those. I don't want to always be hunting and pecking for something else out there. So with this, you can mix a whole song with the Mix Hub and this right here, those 2 plugins, and then the CLA Mixdown and the 2 bus. Literally, that's all you need. Now, I like to use Mix Hub and the 1176, then this. That's all you need. The only reason why, I want to double compress. I want to use a little bit of the compression in the Mix Hub and then spank it again. So why not? Okay? But you could have Mix Hub, CLA 76, and then CLA Epic, CLA Mixdown, boom, you're done. You got a mix. In 5-10 minutes, you throw those plugins on everything, you find a little balance on whatever you need. It sounds like a record. It's easy. So I find that a big problem. It's like, oh, what's my go-to delay? What's my go-to reverb? And then it's like, really? Well, if it's always the same, you know what to expect. And you can say, hey, I need 2 reverbs on that. I'll try 3. How about 4? Hey, a little slap will help it. Then all of a sudden, guess what you're doing? You're being creative because I gave you a tool that helps you do that.
You see, there you go. And honestly, there's one line that you and I think have preached in different forms over the years, which is you really want to make sure that your session and your creativity is working for you and you're not struggling to work for it. And this helps you not dig yourself into a hole. Okay, Chris, we're about to close up on this. Do you have any final words for the crowds of people out there who adore you?
Well, I'm so happy you've all joined in. I'm so happy during these tough times I was able to give you a new plugin. But I want every single one of you to focus on creating, focus on cleaning up your sessions, focus on making your workflow simple. Focus on the end result, not all the puzzle pieces on the way. Focus on just the end, the end thing. Look, I have a website. I'm available through Waves. I'm available through ChrisLord-Alge.com. You got a question that makes sense? I get hundreds of emails a day. I try to get to them as many as I can. Look, I'm here to help you guys 100%. Us at Waves only build stuff for you guys to have fun with and be creative with, okay? That's the bottom line. But rather than sit around worrying about toilet paper and sanitizer, let's worry about what we're good at, and that's being creative with the tools that were made for us.
Flowers and angels, Satan and sin. A glass of water, a dark-colored gin. Next time around, realize the truth.